Oh my god, I got my hair cut. Hey guys, welcome to another video. There have been some folks in my YouTube comments lately, one, that are new, so welcome to the channel, talking about Deadlock and MOBAs in general, and expressing that I'm using a lot of MOBA terms that might be a little confusing, and in general just want some more information in regards to being a noob and how to get better at video games. So let's go up in. I'm going to go ahead and give you some information. This is going to be a pretty long video. I'm going to do a PvE round that is against bots. That way I can take the time to explain things and hopefully you learn something new. So the first and most important thing when it comes to any MOBA or any game that you're picking up is to look at the characters and pick out what is fun, right? Just pick out something enjoyable. For me, that was Viscous. He was the first character that I picked up in Deadlock, right? I like funny things, I like gooey things, I like flubber, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna check this character out. Find something fun. If you pick up something and you don't like it, try something differently. Anytime that you play a MOBA, you need to really resonate with the character. And it will take a bit, but once you get there, you're good to go. Now, once that happens, you need to get really familiar with your character. And with Deadlock, there is a couple of things, well, gosh, a lot of things for you to really pay attention to, right? Each character has a different weapon that shoots differently and requires different type of focus. Some can zoom in, but for this character, I have a left click and a right click, right? That does AoE splash damage. And then once you learn how to handle that, you can start looking at your abilities. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's cool about Deadlock is that all of the abilities are similar to Heroes of the Storm. And some of you might be like, wait a minute, what, Heroes of the Storm? I'm talking about the talents here. If you look down here at the talents, you can hold tab and hover over them. They all level up and they become certain things. So this is kind of a thing that you want to build upon. And while you can go pick up builds, I would strongly encourage getting familiar with your character and what you enjoy. For me, when it comes to Viscous, for example, I love leveling up my Splatter and I love leveling up my Goo Ball. Why? Because when I level up my Goo Ball and I get talent points, later on I'll explain more of this when we go into a match, I get the ability to cast abilities and use items when I'm rolling in Goo Ball form, which is awesome to me. That means when I go into Goo Ball form, hang on here real quick. Okay, I leveled up here in the background. When I go into Goo Ball form, I'm able to cast my abilities while I'm running through the match, which I think is so freaking cool. On top of that, my Goo Ball stuns people when I roll them over, so I'm able to get extra damage in, and hopefully outplay people. So in my opinion, when it comes to the build and what's fun for me on this character, is I want to build up my Goo Ball to be strong for the mid to late game. Cool, we have that understood. That's the talents for this character in general. Now, let's talk about movement. What can you do in Deadlock that is different from a lot of other games? Well, there's a lot of movement tech that is baked into Deadlock that you need to learn or get used to. So let's look at some of the small things that are really easy to work with in the beginning. First off, get used to moving, right? You're going to be constantly moving in a MOBA. You want to do this to make sure that you're not predictable. People that can predict you can line up skill shots, and skill shots are what they are described as. A skill ability that is aimed towards a target, and if it hits them, generally they're very rewarding MOBAs. You get a lot of damage on them. But if you can dodge a skill shot coming your way, that means you have an open window to attack them, right? So you want to be able to move around and try to disrupt them from doing that. And there's some cool extra tech that's available in Deadlock that a lot of people haven't mastered yet. And one thing that's very, very simple, and I think everyone should have this as a base foundation for their gameplay, is when you roll and then slide, right? If you just slide, you just crouch. Or if you just crouch, you just crouch normally. You're quiet here and you are stealthy. But the movement is if you roll, which is your shift, and then hit your crouch button. That may be control for you. For me, it's C because I've changed it. You move very, very well. And it only uses one stamina bar, which you can see here in the middle of the screen for your roll. And you get more spacing based on it, right? So you want to mix that in to try and confuse your opponent, but also to get distance from them or to close distance, right? So you want to get really good at that. Also, another perk, just while we're here, if you haven't noticed yet, in Deadlock, whenever you are sliding, you get infinite ammo. You can do this on your control, or your roll into a crouch, or you can do it on a ramp. And you'll see it on your little cursor there. Whenever you're crouched, you get infinite ammo. Pretty cool, right? So that kind of like makes it a lot easier. I see a lot of people when they're fighting the Guardians, I'll do this later on, they're sliding backwards and shooting constantly, and that's because they're getting the free ammo, right? So, something to consider when you're moving forward, try to get some extra shots in when you get your dexterity down. It will be a lot of work, but it's a small thing. Again, all the small things that Deadlock really piece together. That's what makes it so freaking fun. Okay, let's see here. Any other major things I need to focus on? There are your builds. So if you ever want to find builds, you can come here and you can go to your builds if you want to, which I actually don't have any here. You have your favorites that you have picked up, which are some older ones. They have put a new system in where if they're not used or updated in the last 30 days, I believe they fall off the public forum, but you can have them favorited, so that's why it's so important to come to a build and favorite them. But usually you can come here and just find what's popular. This one looks good here, and then you just click it once, and then when you hit B to buy, this build will be up and available to you in a round. So that's one way to find builds. Now, I will encourage you dramatically in this game. Yes, you should be looking at builds because they want to help you. You want to learn the game, and sometimes just being in the middle of the action is hard to think about. But when you're playing this stuff, figure out what feels good. What do you use a lot? Do you punch a lot? If you punch a lot, you may want melee lifesteal and spirit strike. Mix those together. Do you like shooting a lot and denying your opponent? You'll want to look into high velocity magazines because it gives you faster bullets, right? These are things that you will need to consider and adjust based on how your playstyle is, and also, when you get good at the game, how your opponent is playing. That's what makes Deadlock a lot of fun. There's a lot of back and forth that's going on. If you're facing a lot of tanks, you may want to get like Bullet Shredder a little bit earlier. There is no build, in my opinion, that is going to just be the best all case all, right? Having options is always good, and Deadlock is all about the options. So that's a couple of early things here. Let's head into a match in a PvE round, and I'm going to explain all the small things that I'm doing, whether it be map control, etc. And one more thing before I keep going. Meta. So if you've never heard the phrase meta, it's most efficient tactic available is usually the agreed definition when it comes to the word meta. What is the meta? Meta is what everyone is playing right now, because it is the best. At this point in the game, just for a quick example, and this might be more for intermediate high-level players, if this is going over your head, it's fine, ignore it. The best meta right now is to run spirit builds. Because, and this is where it becomes interesting, why is everyone running spirit builds? Well, if you go to bullet resist, this is physical damage. This is both punching and gun damage. There are a lot of options that give you resist in the game. Look at this. And then when you go to spirit resist, there's significantly less options available to you. So more people are running spirit. Now, you would have a natural conclusion to go, oh, well, everyone should just run spirit, right? Because there's no spirit reduction. The thing is if everyone on your team is running spirit, and everyone's building spirit reduction on the opposing team, you guys aren't going to do any damage. So you need to make sure you have a healthy middle balance between 6 players of having some bullet damage and, of course, spirit damage mixed into your composition so someone can be effective. But this is why people are running spirit more often than not. And if you see 5 of your teammates running spirit, you might want to consider a bullet build just to make sure you're doing physical damage, right? So that's like, it's important to know the meta. Soak that up. You can do that through streamers, you can do it through YouTube videos, you can do it from playing yourself, from paying attention to the items, looking at patch notes can be pretty huge. But again, that's all high-level stuff. I just wanted to put it into your brain so whenever you start to learn the game, you can really evolve yourself, and that's when it gets fun. So we can start doing like anti-meta, like, oh, everyone's doing split pushing, so I'm going to do more team fight build, things like that. You can start to really mix things up and try to break your opponents apart. So something to consider. If you ever have any questions, you can always hit me up on my stream, as I am always playing this game a good 10 to 15 hours a week, right? So I will have some inkling of what's going on in the game. All right, let's hop in and do some more learning. Okay, so I'm in a bot match. I believe all of my teammates are bot as well. So a couple of things to look at right away. Can I actually pause the game here? Let's see here. If you pause the game, let me just go over this UI really quickly, because it is a lot of information, but it's also really intelligently subtle, right? So if you look at my character in the top left corner here, Viscous, you see that it's yellow. If you look over at the opposing side, you see yellow for them. That's who should be my matchup. Right now, this is how quick match works. I assume in ranked and high-level plays, or even in the pro scene that is currently running, people are mixing up their lanes based on what their opponents are. But for just jumping into quick match, you are going to be thrown into a lane, and it's kind of just where you're at, right? So for this instance, I'm facing off against a white-haired lady. Geist, I believe is her name. I haven't played her yet, so I'm not very familiar with her. But I know I'm going to be in a 1v1, right? This is something that you can find out immediately afterwards. Now, in terms of the UI, if you check to the very, very north, you have your timer of the game. Timer is actually really important because when you are farming, you'll be collecting souls. That's your currency, gold in this game, which you can see in the bottom left corner of the UI. I know, it's going to be a lot. And actually, souls scale up with time throughout the game. After 10 minutes, it becomes a lot easier to farm as well. There's some other information that might be a little bit too in-depth. Maybe I'll talk about that later on. But as time goes on, you will make more money in the game. So that is something that's important to know. Be like, I'm 25 minutes into the game. I'm missing an important item. Maybe I should go farm for a little bit because I can get more souls now. Things like that will be decisions that you need to make, right? Also, it gives you a good benchmark if you start doing builds of important items. Some characters need important items. For me, when I am playing Viscous in particular, I think that Divine Kevlar is one of my favorite abilities to have. This is an item I talk a lot about on the stream. But when you use your ultimate, your 4, you get a lot of Bullet Shield, and Spirit Power. And for me, that's a really big power spike for this character. I'm able to run people down. I'm tankier. Things are more aggressive, right? So I'm trying to figure out a good time to buy that. And for me, for example, I want to have that between 19 and 25 minutes. So if I'm looking at the timer and I'm looking at how I'm ahead or I'm behind, I can get a good gauge of where I am in the game power-wise versus where everybody else is, right? Now, that is high level. Not a big deal. Something to consider, right? You also have the yellow and blue icons next to the timer. These are your souls for your team versus your opponent, right? And you can get an idea of like, oh, they're 10 to 15k ahead of us. If they're 10,000 to 15,000 hold value, that is 2 to 3 items that your team does not have, right? So you might want to farm up, or you might want to figure out who on the opposing team has the most souls, and you want to try and focus them down. You kill them, you get your souls, you take them out of the fight, and you have a chance to clean up and close that gap. Or, of course, the other option is to avoid them. Things to consider. And you can figure out those souls by looking at every single individual portrait. Underneath them, you will see a 0 at the moment, and that will go up over time. That's where you can figure out where the soul set is, like who is carrying on a team, who's important, things like that. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything that I need to cover on this UI. There is a minimap in the bottom right corner. This is your holy bible in any MOBA, the minimap. The minimap gives you all the information you need, and I would equate it to driving a car and looking in the rearview mirror or the mirrors on the side. Those are information that make sure that you're safe, right? You wouldn't just randomly curve across the highway and slam into potential cars that are on the highway without at least glancing and checking that. I would argue that 85% of my gameplay is checking that minimap, right? I usually go for like a hit on a minion, to deny a farm, or to get some souls, or if I have a B, I look at that minimap and I read it immediately and make a decision. So start looking at that minimap. You might not get it right now, but the more you look at it, the more you'll learn and the more that you'll evolve as a player. Okay, I think I've been paused forever. So sorry, we're going to talk a lot. If any of these things need more clarification, please let me know in the comments below, or again, come to my stream, and I will answer them to you when I have the free time. Okay, so at level 1, you will get your first souls. Going to unlock that. And remember my little slide mechanic going down. Where do you get souls? You get them from these little red minions. Now, you will be landing against another opponent, and they will hit you. The interesting thing... Oh my god, the spawn's coming at me already. They will hit you if you are in the way. If you are not, they will hit the minions there instead, right? So whoever is close to proximity for them, they will shoot. See how they're shooting me? If I come back here, they shoot that. Okay, that's a soul going up. If you shoot it, it becomes yours. If it goes up and pops, it also becomes yours. You can also deny your opponent, as you just saw there. You can melee for an instant hit on souls. This is a fun early game that they've been introducing in this game that a lot of people are, quite frankly, addicted to, right? Because it's so enjoyable. Now, one thing you need to look out for is whenever things get low... Let me go ahead and shoot one of these down real quick. When one of these gets low, right here, we'll look at this one, and it starts to blink red, that means you can go and pop it for damage, and that'll be a last hit. Wait for it. You see how it's starting to glow right there? We're going to go ahead and hit it. That's the last hit. So that's how you know you can go for your shot and go for the pick. Okay, this bot is, like, walking over me. Relax, bot. Relax. Hang on, let me clean this farm real fast. I just died to an easy bot. When you die... This is actually a major issue and something that you need to learn. Totally did that on purpose. If you die, minions are going to push into your towers and put you further behind. Look at my opponent. This is an easy bot. This is a new bot. And it's 1.1 to 300 in souls at the moment. And part of that is because I'm just straight up missing souls and not matching them. They also did damage to my Guardian. Alright, let's pick up some region and stuff. I'm always hitting focus on this. There we go. When you level up with a couple of souls, you will get to a point where you can unlock new talents. Let's grab melee lifesteal here. We'll just punch him. I'm gonna grab something here. But this leads me into my next point. Whenever you unlock souls, souls are your currency in this game. A lot of other MOBAs give you experience for playing or killing minions, and that experience eventually levels you up. So there's actually strategies to ignore money in order to level up your character. You just stand next to it for experience if you're getting out farmed. In this game, your souls are how you level up your talent points and get stronger, so farming is incredibly important. You can get souls by the minions that you're seeing here, denying your opponent, or of course, killing them. Killing them really isn't as worth it, in my opinion. I think macro is a lot stronger, and I talked about that in a video from a couple of days ago. But your big power point whenever you get souls is getting up to 3k. 3k souls will unlock the ever-important level 4 for every single character in this game. Now, that might change later on a future date, but right now, 3k is the first power spike that you're going to have, and it's usually a good time for you to go for a pick in the lane or on your opponents. That's why you want to keep an eye on it in the minimap. Like right now, I'm 500 gold ahead of my lane opponent, despite them killing me earlier. It's because I've been last hitting and denying them, and because they're an easy bot. We don't have to talk about that.
It's not cowardice.
Also, when you get points, you unlock talent points. Again, a lot of small things adding up over time. And you need to make the decision here of like, do you want to be generally good and just level up everything across the board, or do you want to focus on one thing? For me, I'm going to focus on my 1 and only put points into that and my 4. You'll see the points down here at the very bottom. I now have 2 points into my splatter, which means I get a cooldown reduction, I get a bigger radius, and a little bit more damage, which is nice. My 2 and 3 are just the basic components of it, right? So I probably don't want to be fighting with them, or I don't want to get into engagements unless I'm able to hit my splatter on my opponents. Okay, let's talk about something called wave control. What is wave control? It's pretty much reduced down to this thing right here, all of these creeps. Creeps are the minions that you see in front of me. These guys are called creeps. It's a term left over from Dota, League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm. A group of them is called a wave, because if you get them grouped up into a clump, they become a wave that pushes forward on the lanes, right? Right now, the wave control is in favor of my opponent. There is more red than there is yellow or blue, whatever you want to call my side. I think it's yellow, officially. There's more red pushing into me than I do of my minions. Now, if I want to force this, I can go ahead and start using abilities, get more minions pushing, and then when I have more minions on my side pushing, suddenly I open up a window where I can push down my opponent and try to fight them. And if they come into me, I can run back to my minions, and I'll be at an advantage in terms of damage, right? Look at that. See? Now, again, it's a bot, but this is a type of playstyle that you need to get good at, especially in the first 10 minutes of the game, if you want to do well. Running down your opponent is nice, for sure, but having additional help from your minions is wonderful. And in fact, the minions are pretty strong in this game. 1, they do decent damage, and 2, they heal you. So you see that little green thing here? This guy, I pointed out one of my other videos, and people didn't realize it. This guy with the big plus sign in the middle, he will heal you every couple of seconds. So if you're near him, and your opponent isn't near a healer, you can squeeze out a heal or 2 and beat them out with sustain, right? And then you want to push the lane, and this is called a wave crash, when all of your minions run into a tower and die. This gives you advantage in a couple of ways. 1, you put pressure on the opposing tower. These are called guardians in Deadlock. Let me punch these real quick. Take these out so I can show you crashing. And then you put yourself in a situation where your opponent either has to clear or trade damage with you. So you can step up, put damage on them, and divide their resources, divide their attention. If you see them shooting you, you just back away, and they miss the minions if they don't get the last hit on them. This is that constant tug of war that we have in a lot of MOBAs that you're trying to do in Deadlock. Okay, I'm gonna go back and buy some more stuff, because I have 4k gold. I haven't done anything with this. You saw me kill a couple of devices here. All these little boxes, gold things, statues. These are permanent stats. So just grab whatever. Extra region. Great. These are all permanent stats that are around the map that you can clean up. Just check every single boss. It's not guaranteed. But as you're walking, you might as well grab them. They'll give you a small amount of, like, here's 0.5 cooldown reduction. But imagine if you get 6 of those, right? Suddenly you have 3% cooldown reduction. That is massive in a MOBA. That means you win trades over time, right? So try to pick those up. Alright, let's try and focus this guy down, get the wave control going our way. And then we'll look at our next thing. These things are called the jungle camps. Now, these are kind of uninspiring right now in Deadlock. They're essentially just extra money. Work them in when you can and make sure your opponents aren't getting them. There's a small camp, a medium camp, and a large camp. Large camp spawns over there, and you can check out some guides to find out where they're all at, or of course I can show you those later on in the future. Generally, with your character, when you're getting used to them, you want to have good area effect clear. AoE is what it's called, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Area of effect is damage that is over a large area, right? Like, technically this is an AoE, and you'll see me try to hit it where I hit multiple opponents at the same time. Oh, remember that sliding trick I was telling you about? So here's like a really good thing you can do with the sliding trick. Just slide down, hit that infinite ammo, and this keeps you ready to fight your opponent if they charge you, right? And you just keep doing it over and over, no problem. Let's see here. Let's clear that out. Something that is important about these Guardians that a lot of people don't know is that whenever you do kill a Guardian, all of this gold goes to your entire team. It is team-wise that this gold goes to, not just you. So split pushing is a viable strategy in this game. In fact, I would say it's better than fighting in general. Sure, getting picks on your opponent is great, but actually getting this gives gold against for everyone on your team. Now, there is something that's pretty important when you're killing these, so let's go ahead and kill this right now real quick. As we take this out, and I'll show you. When you do kill off a Guardian, it will pop a bunch of deny orbs or souls, and you want to try and clean these up or make sure your opponent is not denying them. They are, I think, 2/3 of the money that you are looking for from a Guardian. So if you let those be taken by your opponent, this is really interesting. The deny will have the gold go to them. The souls will go to them. It won't go to the entire team, but your entire team loses out on those souls, right? So they get stronger, that individual, if they deny it, and your team gets technically weaker because those are souls that you can't recuperate. So you want to make sure you clean them up. Or make sure you're putting pressure on your opponent so they can't shoot it, right? Okay, let's keep pushing that out. Now, why is it important to kill off these structures that are in these lanes? Why do you want to kill them off? First off, the simple answer is they are the advantage, or excuse me, the route for which you get to the core to end the game. Ultimately, MOBAs are about finishing that core, that last area, that last building that's standing. You kill that, you win the game. It doesn't matter how many kills you are in the game. It doesn't matter if you have 400,000 gold. As long as their core dies before yours does, you win the game. So any building that you do to achieve that goal or one step towards that goal is always a W. Now, you do want to be careful because, like, if you do kill off minions or kill off Guardians early, it means your opponent can back up and kite and try to farm safely. They don't have to be near you. They can't really get harassed as much anymore. Things like that. But if you do take them out, you usually want to try and push a wave, like I'm doing here, and then you want to try and do what's called a gank. A gank is you leaving your lane. Typically, most times, you are sacrificing something to try to get an advantage in another lane. A gank means that you run over, come in behind the opponents when they're not looking, and try to secure some kills. So we'll do that right now. We're gonna head over. Typically, you want to wait until you have boosts and such, but usually you want to come in from behind, because if you come in from forward, you can see like this, your opponent can walk away. Okay, this opponent is an easy boss, so it didn't walk away. Usually you want to have ultimates available to you, you want your big CC abilities available to you, things like that can be really, really good. Oh, I don't have my points in my 5 yet, so I can't just run them down. You can dive your opponent if you're feeling strong enough, because remember, whatever is closest to the Guardian will be focused down. Guardians don't defend you, you defend Guardians in this game, which is a bit different from MOBAs. Like League of Legends, usually the towers are really strong and you want to play around them so you can farm safely. Not in this game. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You can also use your own type of abilities to dodge out on CC coming your way. So I have on this character a cube, right? And if I'm in this cube, I'm defended from any type of CC coming my way, but I do stationary myself. So you want to try and like think about what your opponent wants to do. Now, when you do a gank, if you get a kill or a tower, you usually want to look at the minimap and go, where exactly can I help out again? And I look over to yellow, and I saw yellow got pushed in by the Geist. So I'm going to run back over there and soak that up, because if I don't do it, one, she gets to kill a tower for free, which is gold for her that I would deny. And then two, I'm denying myself farm here, right? So be aware of this, right? Always make sure your lanes are being watched. I would argue that leaving a lane uncontested and not trading out anything is worse than dying in games like this. Okay, keep the poke going, getting some nice clears. We have some money available to us. I'm gonna go grab this and go buy once again. Okay, now that we're about 12 minutes into the game, we're getting to a point where you should be strong enough to be able to start farming the map. So let me go ahead and show you some things that are going on the map here. I'll pick up Spirit Lifesteal, just kidding. Ooh, flex bots. I'll talk about that later. Flex bots are pretty important. Usually on most builds, you want to make sure that you have a couple of things that you can grab in the early game to fill out these slots. Typically, spending money is winning. It's it's something that you can earn from games like StarCraft or any strategy games, right? Like if you're not spending money, typically you're putting yourself in a position where you're not winning. Spend your money. If you have a power spike, of course, once you get used to knowing a character and you want to save farm up, feel free to do that. Just make sure you're making a conscious decision to either spend your money or save your money based on what is needed. Okay, I get that cleaned up. All right, I was killing her for a reason. I'm not doing it to bully the bots, I promise. And Valor, I'm sorry, AI. I wanted to show you that when you start getting a few abilities available to you, such as I have the Torment Pulse, which I really like on this character. My character has decent spirit damage, but doesn't really have that great of a wave clear outside of its one. The Torment Pulse allows me to start clearing out. You feel a lightning coming from me? That's an ability that I have based on what I bought, which means now I can start working on grabbing medium farm. I feel pretty good about this. I can do it pretty quickly. You want to make sure you're fast, because audio is a big thing in this game. If you're clearing things and your gun's a-blazing, and your teammates or opponents start running around the map and they hear you, they can show up and gank you, right? And you may have used an important ability to clear out that wave, which you may want to have up for a fight. Once you do that, push out your lanes, come over, grab your opponent's farm. I would argue in most scenarios, if you are a split pusher, you want to try and take your opponent's farm over your own, because your own should always be there, especially if you're pushing out the lane. So make sure you try and do that. I know it might feel safer to run back and farm your side of the map, but I assure you, if you have a lane push like we have here, you see that lane pushing forward? This is a good thing about pushing lane, by the way, is your minions give you vision, right? The moment I see that Geist is here, I know that she's stuck there, and the rest of the map is 5 people somewhere else. Like, this is knowledge that I get. So I can go farm the rest of the map. Or I can go for a gank, right? These are things that I can do because I was pushing my map and I won my lane. This is why lane winning is so massive. It's such an important feature. You'll see me get a kill and I'll immediately run over to a lane if I don't have a fight near me and just start pushing. I want to deny them farm. I want them to struggle. I want them to feel behind. We hear a McGinnis down here. We're gonna run her down. Throw down slow. And even if I don't kill her, keeping her down here and preventing her from moving anywhere else is always a dub for me. Now that I have my ultimate up and available to me, I'm gonna go ahead and run in for another gank. Let's turn around. Keep sliding forward. And remember, I can die this tower because I'm nice and tanky. Once it starts focusing me, I'll pull back. Get a kill there. And remember, see how I'm outside this range here? I got a couple minions there, so I know I can just sit in between them and do damage. Find your soft pockets. I don't know if you guys play football or watch football, but there's these things called zones, right? Figure those out in your game. Where can your character fit in? Force your opponent to come fight you. And once again, after a couple kills, like, go for farm right away. Continuing to level up. Let's see here. Important farm areas. There are some farm areas up here. This one's interesting because it has a small, medium, and large. You can start killing this off, and this is a good idea to like, oh, I wonder how I'm doing in terms of damage. Can I kill these off? Ooh, this guy's looking kind of tanky. You can go for punches if you think that no opponent is nearby, right? But while I'm doing this, look in the middle of the map. Green map has red pushing in, and they killed off one of our towers because of this. And I'm okay with sacrificing one tower. I don't want to lose anymore else, so I start heading down that way. Using my slides for movement speed, rolling forward. And once I get up here, what I want to do is put some pressure on them, and then immediately run over to the minions. These are more important than potentially getting a kill. Look at all this farm I just got. And if they chase me, then I turn around and fight. Oh, shit. Look at that guy. He's cooking. Let's go ahead and turn into a cube. That's their ultimate. Okay, so now I know that ultimate has been used. Ooh, speaking of ultimate, look at the minimap. I didn't even talk about this. Look at the minimap. At the very, very top, you see every character has a little lightning bolt underneath their portrait. This lightning bolt is a symbol of their heroics or their ultimates. Whatever you call it, whatever mobile you play with. This is their big fours. These are available for them. I know that my opponent just used their Geist ultimate, and it actually goes on to the cooldown for the entire team. I see that that's not available, and I notice it's not available for Dynamo either. So these also become prime gank targets. Keep an eye out for that, because usually level 4 in most scenarios is game changing. They are meant to win team fights. So if there's one down, that person becomes a very, very good gank target. Oh god. Got a lot over here. Alright, can you notice where I need to go? based on the mini-map? Well, the answer is over to yellow. There is nobody farming that, and look at that massive wave that's about to clash in. And I want to grab all of this. So let's move in. I also want to deny that flex spot that's available to my opponent. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, flex spots, and I can get a little bit more information coming in on them. Okay. Alright. Okay, bot AI needs a little bit of work. These walkers will give a flex spot to your opponent if they kill one. Now the Guardians, which we saw earlier, if they are all killed in a lane, they will also set up some flex spots. So we will see if that... Oh, actually, I think that changed recently. There's been a couple of changes. It used to be if you killed all the Guardians, you would get a flex spot, and I think that's the case here. So it might be 2 Guardians now. Flex spots are additional item slots that you can put anything into. You don't have to do a green. You don't have to... Oh, look at this little bug. What the hell? That's crazy. You don't have to do a purple item. You don't have to do a green item. You can do anything you want. That's where a lot of builds come together, and usually where you have your high-level stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and open a flex spot right now, which I think actually just happened. Okay, so I think there was a Guardian here, and that killed it off. So 4 Guardians equals 1 flex spot, 1 Walker, which is what I'm currently attacking right now. It's actually probably one of the scariest things in terms of buildings. The rest of the buildings are kind of whatever. They don't really do too much. These will unlock you flex spots. So let's get 2 unlocked here. Let's go ahead and kill that. There we go. And I think I need to kill 1 more for the second one. So let's run over here and make that my next goal. I have so much money I need to spend. Holy moly. Let's see. Green is currently pushing. Let's come over here. You can shoot these down if you want to what I call split push. Split push is where you push a lane where most of the fights aren't happening. So you take that lane, it's completely empty, and you just push in. And if you want to speed up the process of them falling down from the zip line, you can shoot them down. Okay, so let's go ahead and kill off this walker. You can use abilities on these, you can shoot them, you can even melee them if you want to, although I wouldn't recommend it. They have a melee attack that you can technically parry, but I find it to be a bit of a struggle and really not worth the time, you know? Suddenly someone comes in, tries to gank you, and you're stuck underneath a tower that can CC you down. Not the greatest thing ever. Also, these things are weaker when you have minions coming in. So you kind of want to make sure you have minions with you. You can't really just like run them down and try to pick them up from afar. Okay. Mr. Abrams is walking forward. Let's get some damage on him real quick. He's doing a good job of defending, actually, surprisingly. I just want to finish this off so I can show you what a flex spot looks like when it unlocks. You'll have a little UI pop up. Wow, the boss talks so much. Kind of love it. Okay, keeping the damage up. You can cast while you're reloading as well. So that's always a good tip if you're reloading, try to cast something. Okay, so it says flex slot unlocked. That happens there for killing 2 enemy walkers. I believe that also happens when you kill a shrine, which we'll talk about later on when we get to that. But I'm going to go spend my money because I have $15,000. Ideally, if you're looking at your money in the bottom left corner, when you want to spend money, early game is 500, mid game is around 3,000. You have like 1,250 to 3,000 based on the items that you're getting, and then the big power items are around $6,200. So if you have that, typically you can buy an item. Now there are spots where it's like, hey, I want to keep split pushing with my teammates, or I want to help out in this fight, things like that. So it's okay to have a little bit of money sitting around if you're doing something with it. But if you're doing nothing, head back home and buy. You'll be a lot stronger and you'll feel better about it. Okay, let's rotate over here. Well, you see how those are coming up. Trying to deny those for my teammates. Some characters are better at denying than others. Some require better aim. Get our pick here. And let's go ahead and push out this lane. Okay, let's see. What else am I missing here? Mid-boss does spawn at 10 minutes, I believe. Mid-boss you can see here on the middle of the map. It is not typically a target you want to try and pull off in solo queue by yourself. Usually you want to make sure if you are doing it early that you either have a couple of picks or you have a very coordinated team that you're playing with a party. Solo queue can be a bit of a rush, as sometimes people have to do jobs in MOBAs in terms of like zoning. And what is zoning? Zoning is keeping the opponent's back away from something important by putting damage on them or using CC, crowd control. And these type of things require just a level of coordination that just is not available in solo queue. But you do want to keep an ear out for it. If you hear a large yell, it's like a rah! That means it's at half-life, and people are currently in the middle of fighting it, and you might want to make a call to go defend it, right? Or you can decide to go for a push instead. It all comes down to trading resources. This is essentially what MOBAs come down to. You know what's surprising? The farm is actually very, very similar with our enemies, which is kind of nutty. Okay, we're finishing up our level 2. Let's make sure we keep upgrading. At this point, just finishing up all my stuff where I can. And I'm sitting at about 30k gold. Now, a lot of people will keep farming and try to go for the big power spikes, but look at my opponents. Typically, with how they all are right now, I can beat all of them because I should have an item or two over them. Also, they're dumb bots. But, ooh, nice. I'm in position here in between these. See how I position between those? That's because these were targeting the closest ally, right? So I went ahead and positioned myself in a spot where the DPS was coming in from the jungle instead of just hitting me, right? So I was here. I switched position to put him behind me. Use these little tricks. All these little tricks all add up. Every single form of damage. That's an ultimate. We just back up. We know his ultimate can only come down. Can't come underneath, so we back away. And we just stay away from him. Learn your opponent's weaknesses whenever you get the chance. You can do this by playing the characters. You can do this by watching videos. Ultimately, I think another tip that I would just have for MOBA players in general is just soak all the information you can get, right? Oh my god, this AI is so stupid. I had no idea. That's crazy. Soak all the information you can get. Watch YouTube videos, maybe one a day, ask questions, go to Twitch chats. Things add up really quickly, and you might pick up something you didn't know about, right? For instance, a video that I did yesterday, I was just watching a YouTube video and someone mentioned, oh, this new Ivy build is kind of busted. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go look it up. And then I went and looked at the numbers, and I was like, oh, this is actually busted. It's also a part of, like, research and getting into meta. Okay, so our next flex spot, you get a total of 4. Our next one will get unlocked when we kill one of these shrines. And I believe you get one for killing one of these 2 guardians, right? If you kill one of those, you get a flex spot unlocked. That's how you get all 4 unlocked. This also leads into the whole split pushing can help win games for you, right? Okay, so we got that picked off. Whenever you need to head back home, you can run to your zip lines. This is another cool idea that Deadlock has introduced based off of control of lanes. If you control a lane, you have a zip line that you can go all the way forward and back on, right? Another reason why you should totally focus on trying to have control of those minion waves. Okay, let's buy our Divine Kevlar. Just whatever. Superior cooldown. I'll put that on my 4, so I have my ult all the time. Finish up our upgrades. And we'll go for a fight. As a reminder, if you ever need to talk to your teammates, T is the default hotkey. So if I wanted to tell my bots, hey everybody, I'm going for a gank, you know, I can just yell it. A little mic volume will go up. Keep the moving going. Let's see here. I think they're about to fight, so I'm gonna go run in. If you're ever rotating around, first off, after you shoot, your boots will activate, I think, 3 or 4 seconds. Oh my gosh. Mine has worse aim than me. Oh god, their whole family's here. We're gonna go and ult. Run them down. And look at this. I just have so much gold that I'm able to just run these guys down, right? Torment Pulse is hitting. Oh yeah, I forgot I can use my abilities. Now, again, they're bots, but look how much money I have. 35k, that was easy. Right? If you have 3 to 6k over your opponent, if you're hitting your abilities, you should be able to take them out with just a power advantage. This game looks like it might be a shooter, and some people are treating it like a shooter, and power to them, but this game has a lot of MOBA elements that really bleeds over. This isn't Overwatch, right? Don't be afraid to take your advantages and run with them.
Who would have thought that punching strangers would feel so good?
Oh, one thing as well, since I'm facing an Abrams, you have a parry button as well, which is very strong. Wow, they don't even have punches on the Abrams AI. That's crazy to me. Parry is F. You'll see a little blue thing come up. If someone's going for a punch or a heavy punch on you and you parry them, they'll be stunned for a couple of seconds. You can get full damage on them, and you get a reset on your parry as well. If you whiff it, you have a 5-second cooldown, I believe, on parry. So that means you won't be able to do it, and your opponent can just punch you like crazy. So you might want to consider dashing away. Alright, let's get these pushed in. Now, let's talk about ending the game. We're at 26 minutes. Around this time, I know it doesn't look like it in some games because some people are just like, when they play MOBAs, they want to just feel good and just murder people over and over instead of ending the game. Around 25 minutes in Deadlock, you should be in a position if you group with your team where you can start ending the game. It's a lot harder to do, obviously, in a solo queue environment. It's very hard to get people on the same page, especially if they feel good about their builds and their owning. But right about now, you can look to start finishing the game. And how do you finish the game? Well, first off, finish off all the other buildings I was talking about. Even though technically you can leave those open. Let's push this in. Hang on. Keep our punches up. Keep the damage going. Nice. You finish the game by killing that shrine and the one that we saw earlier. You kill both of them. Now, when you do this, you will unlock this guy up here. I believe it's called the Patron. Almost there. Hang on, hang on, hang on. There we go. Patron's down. So he'll go ahead and start moving in between these areas. He goes into a transformer mode. You need to shoot him down. And then once you finish him off, there's fighting going on out here. What the hell? Let's punch him out there. All right, you go do that, bud. You good? Okay. We finish him off. Uh-oh. Bots are like trying right now. Can I finish my point, video game? Let me just try and get rid of all these guys real quick, yeah? Let's use our cast. There we go. Nice. Nice. Bouncing around. There's a pig. Yes. 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 More damage. I still have my 2s. I'm not too worried about this. Well, there are a couple of turrets coming down. And I got healers here. Oh my god, they're still coming at me. We're gonna use that to bounce backwards. Look at that. Oh, that was a pretty nice shot, wasn't it? Okay, Patron has now been killed. Oh, she went through me? Excuse me? Excuse me? These bots are like... have a death wish. And once it finishes off this normal mode, it will transform after a few seconds into this. And that's this dies, enemy Patron weakened, you win the game. And that's what it all boils down to. Finish them all off. I might have to actually back. Actually hilarious. Okay, let's go ahead and back here. And then we'll try and finish off the game. I wonder if I ping, do the bots come? And I can take my zipline all the way back. Oh, another point too. The ziplines automatically get the speed boost. Once you finish off these towers here, it will open up the speed boost on that lane, right? They want you to end the games early, right? Valve has mentioned they are terrified of having these games that are 45 minutes, 60 minutes long, which is happening because people are just organically not good at the game. But it is something to consider. Sure. Love that. Duration extender. Oh, this is actually something really important that a lot of people don't know about. Whenever you get to the late game and you need more slots, sell your cheap shit. They're not that useful anymore. Sell them. Get rid of them. The extra region don't need. Typically a level 1, unless it's instrumental to your build, and you'll figure that out when you learn your characters. Trade them out. You can totally do that. Not an issue in any way, shape, or form. Okay, let's go ahead and back to our lanes. Let's see if we can end this game here. Let's go ahead and finish up. We are full build completely here in terms of talents. Sliding in. Yes. Ooh, they're gaming. Oh, well enough, huh? All right, let's just clean them up for funsies. Yes, ma'am. Ooh, we don't like that. Let's get over here. Jesus, really just holding all the way, huh? Look at that. Okay, bounce back in. And go finish the game. Alright, I think I cleared most of the content and most of the information. Please let me know if there's any other questions you have about this game. I'm only about 100 hours into it. I'm still figuring it out. And while I do have MOBA knowledge, and I have done MOBA stuff in the past, there are things that I am still working on. You know, learning what the best builds are, where to go, things like that. If you think there's some stuff that you disagree with, I'm also okay with that as well. Just let me know, right? I can probably start looking at some more enemy stuff in the future, but hopefully this is a good beginner's understanding of Deadlock, and hopefully you can focus on 1 or 2 things and just build upon it. It's all you gotta do, man. I mean, it's life advice, right? Focus on one thing, keep getting better, keep improving. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment, and check out the stream when you get a chance.